Hello. My name is Joanna Scarligo. I would like to welcome you all to today's debate, which is part of the 4th QLS Online School Debate Festival. This motion for today's debate in C1C2 level is this House believes nuclear power should be banned. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes in which to do his or her best to persuade the judges and the audience for or against the motion. The judges will be assessing the speakers as they present. Their marks will be totaled to determine a final score, which will provide us with the winners of the debate based on the team's performance. The teams participating in this debate are from Educational Dynamics School in Syros and from G. Papa School in Alimos, Athens. As always, there are 3 speakers for the motion, Eleni, and Alkinos, and 3 against the motion, Anthi, Nick, and Sophia.
Excuse me, Joanna.
Okay.
Sophia will be our first speaker and Anthi our second speaker. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, then Sophia will be the first speaker for the motion. Okay. I would like to remind the speakers that they have up to 3 minutes each to present their arguments. I will ring a bell when he or she has 1 minute left. We would also like to remind participants that all microphones, apart from the speakers, should be turned off. Good luck to both teams. Now, I would like to ask Sophia, the first speaker for the motion, to begin the debate. Sophia.
No, we are against the motion. Mrs. Papaioannou School is for the motion.
This is what my notes are saying.
No, we are against.
Educational Dynamics team is for the motion.
For the motion, Eleni, and Alkinos. Okay. Okay. So we would like to ask Eleni, the first speaker for the motion, to begin the debate. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Good afternoon, judges, teachers, parents, and students. We are for the motion. This House believes that nuclear power should be banned. I have 2 arguments for the motion. My first argument is that nuclear power should be banned due to its costly and long period to build each facility. Constructing a single facility of a nuclear plant takes 20 to 30 years and has the outrageous cost between $9 billion and $6 billion and $9 billion for each 1,100 megawatt plant, a burden massively high for any country. Not coming as a surprise, nuclear reactors take 7 years to construct and also cost $5,366 for each kilowatt of capacity, meaning that, excluding financing costs, as time passes, technology evolves rapidly. So by the time a nuclear reactor or facility is built, this technology will no longer be considered state-of-the-art and maybe even obsolete. Moreover, all the mind-boggling numbers of costs will have no worth in some years, since uranium is a non-renewable source and is only expected to last for the next 30 to 60 years. Then what? Is it really worth wasting so much time and money investing in something that, in less than a century, will be non-existent? My second argument why nuclear power should be banned is about nuclear weapons and their deadly consequences. Since the final stages of World War II, nuclear bombs have been used twice, once in Hiroshima and once in Nagasaki. Nuclear bombs form a very vicious type of threat used between countries and stigmatize power. Nuclear bombs are one of the most powerful and damaging weapons on the planet, capable of destroying cities at a time and killing most of their people. It is a really unhuman fact that whole generations or cultures are erased in seconds with the use of these weapons. In fact, from the 2 bombings that have ever taken place, there's a total of 105,000 dead. The consequences of these bombings are numerous and have effect on generations to come. There are consequences on the climate and our planet, on the atmosphere and the climate. There are blasting effects, thermal effects, and radiation effects that all take place after the use of these bombs. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleni. Now it's the turn of the first speaker against the motion, Sophia, if that is correct. Yes, Sophia, over to you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Sophia, and I welcome you to today's debate. I stand against the motion, and I believe that nuclear power should not be banned. First of all, humanity's biggest concern is climate change, which is caused by CO2 emissions. The only way of overcoming global warming is by becoming fossil fuel independent. At the moment, the most promising technology to achieve this is nuclear power. However, what if I told you that there is a way to completely change how we generate energy by producing unlimited, free, as well as clean energy and provide a solution to the global energy problem? This innovation is called nuclear fusion. It is the opposite from fission, because fission is when a nucleus splits, and while fusion is when two hydrogen atoms are fused together to form one atom of helium and great amounts of energy. In fact, it has the potential to produce 4 times as much energy as fission and 4 million times as much energy as fossil fuels. This reaction is identical to what happens in the stars. And so you can imagine something like a small sun on Earth. One major advantage of fusion is its fuel, hydrogen, which exists in unlimited amounts on Earth. Also, small quantities of waste are produced by this reaction, which have short half-life time. Even if an accident occurs, the walls of the reactor will remain radioactive for only a few years, compared to the thousands of years that they will remain radioactive from a fission accident. However, there is no possibility of an accident happening, because if the magnets fail, the hydrogen will cool down and the reaction will stop immediately. Currently, fusion is on experimental stage. Although the actualization of this ambition seemed inconceivable, NIF scientists managed to prove most concerns unnecessary. In fact, the ITER program is scheduled to operate and produce energy by 2035. In this program, 35 nations collaborate, including Greece. In the meantime, to protect our planet, nuclear power's global energy production would have to exceed fossil fuels production. As a matter of fact, 55 reactors are currently under construction, which proves their efficiency and how economical they are compared to oil. Studies have shown that we must globally achieve net zero carbon emission in order to prevent climate change. And nuclear power is the only way we could do that, that is promptly and effectively, as renewables will never reach such energy protection levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. Now it's the time of the second speaker for the motion. My notes say Eleni, is that correct?
Good afternoon, everybody. I also have 2 arguments for the motion. My first argument concerns nuclear waste management and its environmental impact. One wonders what happens at the back-end steps in a nuclear cycle operations to safely manage and dispose of spent but still highly radioactive nuclear fuel. Nuclear waste is stored in barrels buried in the Earth's crust and at the bottom of oceans. This is considered the best way of storing nuclear waste to this day. But is it actually safe? An explosion, an accident, or a volcanic eruption can violate all the safety measures and expose whole communities to radiation. The result, land will become toxic and barren, and marine life will be contaminated. Even if nothing happens to the storage, it still poses a great threat to future generations that will have to face this lethal legacy of our generation. According to the US Nuclear Regulatory Commission, we must look after all this toxic waste for 10,000 years. Certainly, there are better ways to decarbonize our planet. My second argument for the motion concerns the health risks that nuclear power entails. In addition to the significant risk of cancer associated with fallout from nuclear disasters, studies show that workers in the nuclear industry are exposed to higher than normal levels of radiation, and as a result, are at a higher risk of death from cancer. Scientists have been concerned about cancer risk around nuclear facilities, in the areas around nuclear facilities, for more than 2 decades. A case control study has shown that there is a 61% increased risk of all cancer and a 119% increased risk of leukemia among children less than 5 years of age. A meta-analysis of geographic studies has shown that there is a 23% excess risk of leukemia among children 0 to 9 years of age, living within 16 kilometers of the nuclear power plant, according to a research that happened in 2007. Why should we support such an energy solution? Thank you.
Thank you, Eleni. Now it's the turn of the second speaker against the motion, Anthi.
Okay, so hello, my name is Anthi, and I actually stand against the banning of nuclear energy. And let me tell you why. Now, bear with me on this one. Nuclear energy actually saves lives. In 2013, a study conducted by NASA actually found that nuclear energy has saved approximately 1.8 million lives. Now, even if you include the death tolls from Chernobyl and Fukushima, it still is last in death per energy unit produced. Now, nuclear waste is toxic, and we know that, but it's usually stored somewhere. In comparison to the really toxic byproducts produced by fossil fuels, our main source of energy, that are just pumped into the air that we breathe every day. So, just by reducing the amount of fossil fuels burned and pumped into the atmosphere that we breathe daily, countless cases of cancer, lung diseases, or even accidents in the coal mines have been avoided. So, if we can choose between putting lots of dangerous stuff into a deep hole in the ground, or pumping lots and lots and lots of dangerous stuff into the air that we breathe every day, the former one just makes more sense. But nuclear energy feels way more dangerous. Why is that? Well, some catastrophic events just burn into our memory more vividly, making us way more afraid, while coal and oil, our main source of energy, kill silently. It's actually something really similar to the death rate of driving versus flying. While driving causes way more deaths daily, flying accidents just burn into our memory, making us way more afraid. And about renewable energy. Even in the best case scenario, it will take at least 40 years to switch to 100% renewable energy. So, for as long as we continue depending on fossil fuels, nuclear energy will continue saving way more lives than it destroys. And nuclear energy is arguably way less harmful to the environment in terms of climate change, and the only current way we have of preventing a man-made global warming. So, since humanity will not stop depending on fossil fuels and coal, which is really easily accessible and will continue harming the environment, nuclear energy is comparably really clean to all the other things we use. China alone burns 4 billion tons of coal each year. And I don't need to explain to you the harmful events it has to the environment. So thank you.
Thank you, Ansi. Now there will be a 10-minute break for the teams to prepare their rebuttals. I will ring a bell 1 minute before the 10 minutes are up. And please turn off your microphones, but leave your cameras on. Now, I would like to welcome you back and ask Alkinos, the rebuttal speaker for the motion, to begin.
Good afternoon. Our team has presented 4 arguments why nuclear power should be banned. First of all, it is the nuclear weapons and their devastating consequences. The radioactivity released to the atmosphere has already caused loss of life, destruction of land and water, and economic catastrophe for millions of people. The risks of storing and managing the spent radioactive fuel and the health risks deriving from the entire nuclear cycle for now and for hundreds of generations to come. Now, the opposing team mentioned that nuclear power is the best way to combat climate change. Yes, admittedly, it produces 0 carbon emissions, but nuclear power and nuclear energy produces another type of waste, which is nuclear waste. And in compliance with our research, nuclear waste has proven to have devastating effects both to land, soil, and water. Also, they claim safety, that's completely safe, but there are numerous unpredictable factors that can destroy a power plant or the stored radioactive fuel. These unpredictable factors are human error, malfunction, perhaps a natural disaster. Yet they claim that it is reliable, that there is an unlimited supply of fuel in the earth. And according to our research, this is not true. The expected amount of fuel that we have, uranium that is, are expected to last for 40 to 60 years. Also, ultimately, they claim that it is more proficient compared to fossil fuels. But should we compare them to the fossil fuels or to truly renewable resources? And because after all, nuclear energy is not renewable. The fuel, the uranium, is expected to last for a few decades. So, should we really be able to invest such amount of energy, which is a colossal amount of energy to be invested in order to build a power plant, in an energy that's not going to last forever? Or should we invest in really renewable resources? Now, in order to close my speech, I would like to share a piece of information. On the 4th of March, the US ambassador to the United States to the United Nations Safety Council stated the following: Russia's attack last night put Europe's largest nuclear power plant at grave risk. By the grace of God, the world narrowly averted a nuclear catastrophe. There's several reasons why we should ban nuclear energy: because it is highly costly and because there is a great risk associated. Thank you.
Thank you, Alkinos. Now we are ready for Nick, the rebuttal speaker against the motion. Nick.
Hello, fellow debaters, esteemed judges. Allow me to represent our case, which is, of course, against the banning of nuclear energy. Bear with me, as I am sure that by the end of my speech, you'll be convinced. So let's begin with rebutting Eleni, your first speaker. Eleni mentioned the cost and long period to build nuclear power plants. We have to first take, for comparison, take in the building of hydroelectric dams, which are, of course, renewable energy. Hydroelectric dams take much more years to build than nuclear power plants, and in comparison to the $6 to $9 billion that it costs for nuclear power plants, for a hydroelectric dam, it costs more than $50 billion US. That's 50 billion with a B. You also mentioned the uranium and how we are at risk of running out of uranium, while in reality, the Nuclear Energy Agency a few years ago published a report which said that there's about 10.5 million metric tons of uranium remaining undiscovered inside the Earth's crust. You also talked about nuclear weapons, but in this debate, we are talking about nuclear power as a means of generating electricity and not nuclear weapons. So that is out of today's debate. Your second speaker, the other Eleni, talked about nuclear waste, which is, of course, being stored underground, and it's perfectly safe where it is. And she also talked about the side effects which it has on human health. We have to take into account that nuclear energy and radioactivity is being used in hospitals, such as in X-ray scans, to save millions of lives. And your last speaker, Akinos, mentioned the power plant in Ukraine, which was recently attacked by Russian forces. Thankfully, after it was hit by Russian ordnance, the power plant safety features took action, and the reactor immediately shut down, with the cooling system also being powered with a secondary generator. And that just goes to show how much safer nuclear power plants have become over the last years. That is from me. I thank you for your audience, and I hope that you are now convinced. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. I would like to thank you all for participating in this debate. You will all be given certificates of participation in the 4th QLS Online School Debate Festival. The final scores will be announced on the QLS Facebook page at noon on Wednesday, 23rd March. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you.